cross the divide. In the heart of the night, where the silence of the forest wrapped around the trees like a suffocating shroud, the woman in the red dress emerged. Her heels crunched softly against the dirt path, the echoes swallowed whole by the encroaching darkness. The air was dense with the scent of pine and damp moss, but underneath it lingered something faintly metallic, as if the earth itself bled from an ancient wound. She moved with purpose, her breath steady, though the weight of the night pressed heavily on her chest. Ahead, the moonlight barely seeped through the web of branches, casting fragmented patterns on the ground. Her crimson dress clung to her body, the fabric whispering secrets of forgotten eras with each step. Her name was Evelyn, though she had long since stopped thinking of herself in human terms. Tonight, she was something more, an emissary from the living to the realm beyond. The song of the forest pulsed faintly in her ears, a rhythmic hum that guided her deeper into the unknown. She clutched a small silver pendant around her neck, its warmth pulsing against her skin like a heartbeat. It had all begun with a letter left on her doorstep 2 weeks prior. Written in a hand she recognized but couldn't name, the note read, "Cross the divide. Find what was stolen." Nothing else. No sender, no instructions, just an address scrawled at the bottom. The edge of the Blackwell Forest, notorious for its ghost stories and vanishing travelers. Evelyn hadn't hesitated. She knew in her bones that the message was for her. She had spent her life feeling like she was straddling two worlds, one foot firmly planted in the mundane, the other brushing against something vast, eerie, and eternal. Dreams of forgotten landscapes, cryptic whispers, and visions of hands reaching from the void had plagued her for years. She had tried to ignore them, but the pull had grown stronger, especially after her sister vanished a year ago. Tonight, she would end the torment. The path led her to the ruins of an old chapel, its skeletal frame barely holding itself together. Vines choked the crumbling stone walls, and broken stained glass littered the ground like forgotten shards of memory. Above, the moon cast its pale gaze through the missing roof, illuminating the altar at the center. Evelyn's breath hitched. There, draped across the altar, was her sister's locket, the one she had worn the day she disappeared. Evelyn's fingers trembled as she picked it up, the cold metal biting into her palm. Her reflection stared back at her from its polished surface, but something was wrong. Her face was distorted, her eyes darker, as if a shadow had taken root inside her. "You came," a voice whispered, slicing through the silence. Evelyn spun around, her pulse thundering. The figure stood in the shadows just beyond the altar, their forms shifting like smoke caught in a breeze. It was neither man nor woman, but something between, as if it had borrowed pieces of humanity and rearranged them in unsettling ways. Its eyes glowed faintly, a sickly amber hue, like the last flicker of a dying flame. "Who are you?" Evelyn demanded, her voice steadier than she felt. The figure stepped closer, its movements languid, almost serpentine. "I am the guardian of what lies beyond the divide." Its voice was layered, as if multiple souls spoke in unison. "You seek what was taken, but the price of crossing is steep." Evelyn tightened her grip on the pendant. "I'll pay it, whatever it is." The figure tilted its head, as if considering her offer. "Bold. But do you understand what you're offering? To cross the divide is to surrender part of yourself. The realm beyond does not return what it takes." She hesitated, the weight of the warning pressing down on her. But then she thought of her sister, of her laugh, her warmth, her absence carving a hollow space inside Evelyn's soul. "I understand. Then follow." The figure extended a hand, its fingers impossibly long and jointed in ways that defied logic. Evelyn took it, suppressing a shudder as the cold seeped into her skin. The world around her shifted violently, as if reality itself were folding in on itself. The trees blurred, the air vibrated, and the ground beneath her feet dissolved into a void. When the chaos settled, they stood on the edge of an obsidian lake, its surface unnaturally still. The sky above was neither day nor night, but a perpetual twilight that pulsed with an otherworldly glow. Shapes moved beneath the water, serpentine and vast, their silhouettes teasing the edge of her vision. "There," the figure said, pointing to the center of the lake. "She waits." Evelyn didn't hesitate. She waded into the water, the cold biting through her dress, numbing her legs. The lake resisted her, as if alive and unwilling to let her pass. But she pushed forward, her breath ragged, her heart a drumbeat of defiance. Halfway across, the water began to pull at her, tendrils of shadow wrapping around her ankles. Panic clawed at her throat, but she forced herself to keep moving. The pendant around her neck grew hot, burning against her chest, and she grasped it tightly, its warmth anchoring her. Finally, she saw her, a pale figure floating just beneath the surface, her hair fanned out like ink spilling into water. Evelyn reached down, her fingers brushing against her sister's cold skin. The moment their hands touched, a shockwave rippled through the lake, and the shadows recoiled, hissing as they retreated. Gasping, Evelyn pulled her sister to the surface. Her eyes fluttered open, glassy and distant, but alive. Tears blurred Evelyn's vision as she embraced her, the warmth of her sister's breath against her neck, grounding her in the moment. "It's over," she whispered, though she knew the cost had only just begun. The figure watched from the shore, its expression unreadable. As Evelyn carried her sister back, the pendant cracked, its light fading into embers before disintegrating. She felt the loss immediately. A part of her had been left behind in the lake, a piece she would never recover. But as the dawn broke through the trees, casting golden light on their path home, Evelyn knew she had made the right choice. Some sacrifices were worth the price. The golden beams stretched across the forest floor like threads weaving the past into the present, guiding her steps as if nature itself recognized her victory. Her sister stirred slightly in her arms, a faint murmur escaping her lips, a sound Evelyn had missed more than anything. The birds began their morning song, tentative at first, as though testing the air, then building into a symphony that welcomed the return of life.